everyone, it's Cindy and welcome back to Studioloo. So today we are working on our Marguerite Miller collage. This is week 6 and the theme is a little different today. It's not just prompts, it's pick a room in a home, real or imagined. Find at least 3 images of things that could go in this room and create a collage with them. So that's kind of fun and a little different. So I'm using just 3 pages from a book that I have about nomad type living. It's someone who's traveled around the world and kind of looked at humble interiors, and so I thought I would kind of get started using elements from these because there's elements throughout this book of just things that I really adore. So I don't have a whole ton of space, unfortunately, but I think I'm going to make this work as best I can. So the first thing that appealed to me to kind of set the tone for this room is actually this image of this plant, and this is a tree stump with a fan on top and a table here. So what appeals to me about it is that there's a plant in the room, number one, and wood in the background. Those are things that I personally find extremely inviting and comforting. So I'm going to use this as kind of my basis for what I want to create. And it's going to be sort of like a background. It's going to be the room that we choose. Okay. Set that aside. So let's just start by gluing this down. This book is just full of beautiful pictures. You'd be surprised how often you can make use of like really beautiful interior design kind of books. I remember for a little while I sort of was getting into buying them when I would be buying books at like, I would go to Chapters and go to the bookstore and stuff and be able to do that. But so these days I don't go to the bookstore a whole lot. I don't need any books. I want them, but I don't need them. So I'm trying to not tempt myself as much. Although I'm always tempted by certain things anyways, like Book Outlet. So the other thing that I want in my room is a window. I need a window with bright light. And there's another plant here. So I'm thinking about how I can incorporate, using the space that I have, at minimum, the window, maybe the plant, but probably not because I feel like it more than likely will take up way too much room. And I'm not being like extremely precious about how I fussy cut this. This is a collage book that's just for me. It's kind of like, this feels more like a mood board to me than anything else. It sort of feels, I'd be replacing one plant with another basically, and I'd be hiding a little too much currently. So let's just kind of cut this down, see what we can do to make this feel a little like it fits a little more and it doesn't completely remove. So I'm going to maybe try to turn this into what looks more like a window pane. And then I will cut some space out for what's down here, which is a table. And this really cool log with this fan on top. And then that line kind of matches up somewhat with that line. I just got to trim a little more here, a little more up here. So now it's like the plant can be sitting on the table, I think. There we go. Okay, yeah, that fits. Now let's just trim a little off the plant so that it's not going off the page. Okay, and then all right. So now we've added a window to this room. and a plant again. So we have a plant and a window. Those are 2 of the 3 things. There will be a few more. In my favorite room anyways. Those are things that I need. Okay. All right. Now, as predicted, we need some books. So I would love to use this beautiful wooden bookcase, but I can't. So just like these people have done, I'm going to use these lovely floating shelves, these books on them, as my book edition. The rooms that make me the happiest, I think, are having a few different elements. I would definitely say a nice window that looks out somewhere lovely, some comfortable furniture with lots of pillows and blankets, books, nice textiles, art, usually a pet and a kid, a dog and a kid. I would like a room with all those elements. So maybe we'll have the books there, maybe hanging on the stump here, this table. Maybe it's also a bookshelf on one side. So there we go. And it looks almost like those toadstools that come off the side of a tree. Okay. Now, those are the 3 elements that I absolutely needed to kind of do the collage. I'm just going to look at these pages and see if there's anything else on them that I would want to add to this. There's this little seat, but I don't think I want it. No, I don't want those. Okay. What I think I would like is maybe to add a kid and a dog. And I love this little girl with this, what are they called? Pit Bull Terrier, I think. There was a day when I really wanted to get a Pit Bull Terrier. They're lovely dogs, and I love that they're like so unique, but unfortunately I've never seen one at a rescue before, and I do know where there's a breeder, but I tend to go for the rescue pals instead, so that's what I will do. Maybe one day, that or a Brussels Griffon. I would love to have a Brussels Griffon. Although Chihuahuas are kind of my spirit animal dogs. I really love Chihuahuas. They're good dogs. They're little and they're lovable and they're great little dogs. And they have nice long lives too, which is great. I think some dogs are just, all dogs are great, but some just have such shorter lives. And I also feel like these days I try to be careful with the kind of genetic makeup of the dog I get. I honestly, it's not that like I want a designer dog. That's not it at all. I just kind of feel like there are some dog breeds that are bred to be almost sick or dysfunctional, you know, unable to function to their full capacity. And it honestly just kind of makes me sad. For many years I had a dachshund, and she was a wonderful dog. I loved her a lot. She was really, really great dog, but I definitely feel like her capacity to just be herself was diminished by having those tiny little short legs and a barreled chest. You know, it's like a hard body to live in. And I feel that way about a lot of different dogs, like bulldogs and dogs with short muzzles that have a hard time like breathing, especially in the cold. And I live in Canada, so it's like I don't think a bulldog or a French bulldog or English, any of those would be a good pet for us because it's cold and we like to go outside. So let's just pop her on the table, and maybe the dog is sitting on the stump in front of the books. we have a stump coffee table in my living room that my husband and I made. He did most of the work, actually. I would say I was the designer, but I still remember I remember finding this table, well, this stump on the side of the road, and it was from a big tree, a big oak tree that had been cut down. And there were tons of like stumps that were just sort of sitting, like I think where they were cut down, they couldn't be used, as these things often are, as kind of like mulch or whatever. So they were sort of sitting at the edge of the property to be picked up and taken away. And they had a sign there that was just like free. I'm sure they were hoping people would take them away. So we had gone for a little road trip that day, and I had found an estate auction barn. And we gone inside because we just moved into our house not very long before that. And we were looking for furniture. We were buying furniture at the time. And so when I went into the auction barn, I found there was this beautiful baker's table that is, you know, probably turn of the century, you know, to the 1800s to the 1900s. And basically we ended up buying the baker's table, and it's all wood, and it's the kind that has like the flour bins underneath that are like, they're rounded, like the drawers underneath have like a belly to them. So we had that in the back of the car. And so then we saw this stump, and it was a rainy day. I think I mentioned that. And so I was like, oh my goodness, we should make a table out of that stump. And my husband is like, okay, but where are we going to put the stump, right? How am I going to get the stump in the car? So I said, well, you know, there's that space kind of where in between the table legs and under the belly, we could pop it right in there, right? And so he's looking at me, and he's like, okay. So the stump, because it was raining, it was extremely like, sorry about that. It was extremely heavy because, you know, it soaked up rain. So he's like, okay, he starts loading it. And so he picks it up, and it was really heavy. I mean, it was several hundred pounds. And so he gets it like to the back of the car, and he's like rolling it into the back of the car. And then I said, are you okay? He's like, yes, but you could have helped me. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, helped how? And he's like, you could have cheered me on. So I cracked up laughing. He eventually did too after his back recovered, and he got himself back in the car. So then we took it and put it in the garage for a while to dry up, because it's, you know, green wood, and green wood needs some time. So it actually sat for about, I would say, a year before we started the project. And then we did this. You can get this product that you can kind of like preserve wood to make it kind of go from green wood to like a final kind of wood. And, you know, you sand and you round and you treat and do all of that. And it was a long process. And then we put some nice antique legs on it, and it's a beautiful table. It's almost like a big chopping block, but, you know, we don't use it for a chopping block, but it's a beautiful low table. Right now it is out of commission, hanging out in our laundry room though, because my children, they like to climb upon it, and it's just not safe. So until I don't have rough and tumble 2-year-old, it will probably have a little bit of a break, and then we'll put it back in when everybody is somewhat civilized in our house again. Okay, so there's my little collage for the day. So this is picking a room in a home, real or imagined. I chose to kind of make a room that I'd really love, and put some things in that room and collage with them. So I just added some words. It says round the edge of the clock, and a little bit of tin foil back here, enchanting. So this is like a secret little nook where this little girl and her dog hang out and maybe read books, and they're just sitting on the table by the window. Maybe they're looking at some birds out the window. So there's probably a nice comfy couch over here with some really nice cozy blankets and pillows. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope you're having a really nice day. If you haven't yet subscribed, I would love it if you did, and we will talk soon. Take care. Bye for now.